Hello friends, in this video I will discuss the meaning of hypothesis, its types, characteristics of hypothesis, component hypothesis and the process of hypothesis test. So firstly I'll talk about the meaning of hypothesis. Generally, hypothesis is known as an assumption about any situation, or if I say technically, hypothesis is an assumption about population parameters. Usually, when the population size is very large, in such case, we cannot enumerate the whole population. And in the condition, we are trying to take some sample, and using that sample, we are trying to assess the population parameter. Then I can say hypothesis is an idea or concept which is based on any situation and we are trying to explain it. Then hypothesis can be a proposition about any concept. It is a tentative conclusion which we are making for any particular phenomena or outcome. It is a testable statement. So if we are making any statement, it should be testable, and by collecting such data, we should test that statement. So friends, this way, this is the meaning of hypothesis. Further, talking about the characteristics of hypothesis. So the very first one is, it is never formulated in the form of a question. It should be empirically testable, whether it is right or wrong. It should be specific and precise. It should specify variables between which the relationship is to be established. It should describe one issue only. Further, it should not conflict with any law of nature which is known to be true. It should be stated as far as possible in most simple terms so that the same is easily understandable by all the concerned. It must explain the facts that gave rise to the need for explanation. It should be amenable to testing within a reasonable time. It should not be contradictory. So, in short, if I say the hypothesis should be very clearly stated and it should be based on real phenomena which can be easily tested, it should not contradict with any particular situation. So this way, these are the characteristics of hypothesis. Now, talking about hypothesis. So friends, we know usually there are two types of hypothesis: null hypothesis. The other name of that is statistical hypothesis. And generally, we formulate this hypothesis in the form of there is no significance difference. Generally, it is represented by H0. The second hypothesis is alternative hypothesis, and this hypothesis is known as research hypothesis, which is generally represented by H1 or HA. Generally, when we are saying in the null hypothesis, there is no significant difference. And if suppose our data is not supporting our null hypothesis, that means we will not accept null hypothesis. In such case, we will reject it and we should have something to conclude, and that conclusion is based on alternative hypothesis. Now, talking about components of hypothesis. Generally, in any hypothesis, there are three main components, and these are: first is independent variable, then dependent variable, and then reasoning based on research. That means if suppose I am saying I have a one independent variable gender, I have a second dependent variable, for example, salary, and I want to compare salary of employees, maybe on the basis of their gender, that is male and female. So in that case, I want to see there is a significant difference in the salary or not. So according to the researchers, according to the literature, I will find the appropriate reason, and that way I can formulate the hypothesis. Some of the examples here I have mentioned, we can see consumption of sweet beverages consistently prompts weight. The temperature doesn't affect health of employees in an office. Quantity of sleep affects performance. Satisfaction from services lead to loyalty. Now talking about the hypothesis testing procedure. So the very first step is we need to formulate the hypothesis. We need to formulate null and alternative hypothesis. Then we need to decide upon the level of significance, that is alpha. We need to collect the data to test the set hypothesis. Then we need to choose the appropriate statistical test. Then we need to decide upon what would be the acceptance and rejection rule. We need to perform the calculations. After performing the calculation, we can interpret the output and then we can make the conclusion. So friends, this is a very short video for the hypothesis and its testing procedure. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video will help you to understand the concept of hypothesis and its procedure. Thank you so much for watching the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.